Hello and welcome back to Nasty Metal Production over YouTube, and welcome to another Friday review. And today I am here to review Inferno, the debut full-length album from Moscow, Russia-based heavy metal band Steel Cheetah, and it was released independently digitally on June 1st of this year. So without further ado, let me get into my overall thoughts on Inferno, the debut full-length album from Steel Cheetah. Let me get into it, folks. Okay, so before I really get into my my overall thoughts on Inferno, you know what I have to do. I have to do a track listing rundown so I can tell you folks where the songs are on this album, how many songs are on this album, and what's the time length for this album. And since we have at least about 9 songs here, it all clocks in at the length of 37 minutes and 28 seconds. So, these 9 songs are beginning with basically the only short track on the album, and it's the intro for this album, and it basically clocks in at the length of 1 minute and 2 seconds. That is Call of the Sea. Then finally, we get into the real song of the album, that being Into the Storm, then into Ghost Gate, Banished from the Sky, Angel in the Skies, Sweet Cheetah, Divine Hammer, the title track, and then finally Angel's Cry. So there is your 9 songs. Now, obviously, if you are not familiar with Steel Cheetah, they are a mostly female-led metal band with at least one male in the band. That being Ivan Milton, the guitar player, at least one of the guitar players. So, and they again, like I stated at the beginning of the video, they are based out of Moscow, Russia. Now, they were formed all the way back in 2009, however, under the original name of Sweet Cheetah before splitting up in 2011. But in 2016, they reformed as Sweet Cheetah, but that only lasted until 2018. And then, of course, in 2018, they basically changed their name to Steel Cheetah. And then from 2021, which was just, well, last year, they began releasing singles that would lead up to their debut full-length album here. That, of course, will begin with Angel in the Skies, Ghost Gate, Into the Storm, and then that would be it until here for June 1st with this album right here, Inferno. So, and to bring up another little factor, again, the song Sweet Cheetah obviously had to have been at least written when they were under the name Sweet Cheetah, so it's kind of, in a way, somewhat serves as kind of a band-themed song, basically. Again, a band-name themed song, or a song that's pretty much named after them. But obviously, they are now under the name of Steel Cheetah, but I pretty much, you can consider, Sweet Cheetah, the song here, basically a band-themed title track in a way. So, musically, again, you could say this is pretty much typical of at least the new wave or traditional heavy metal. And again, I will consider Steel Cheetah a new wave or traditional heavy metal band because they were formed anyways during the time period when it was really a lot more stronger in a way, where at least people were actively were following it, when at least bands like, for example, Skullfist, Enforcer, Ram, and such and such, or Cauldron, or any of those kind of bands were just a lot more, were considered, just feel new, when the genre was just really youthful. And again, they pretty much fall into that sort of genre, and they play off of that. A lot of this does feel like the new wave of traditional heavy metal sound of at least the days when bands like Skullfist and Enforcer and that were all kind of were popular, and were all talk of the town. And it's just very musically, very much it basically captures that time capsule. But still, not to say that it's all bad to begin with. It's still all very enjoyable stuff. Just most of the songs, as far as the pacing, are very much typical of at least the more new wave or traditional heavy metal kind of pacing, where it's very fast, very melodic, but still, again, has at least a bit of a punch to them. So everything just, I mean, for just to give you examples, I mean, we'll definitely be heard in songs like, of course, Into the Storm, Ghost Gate, Angel in the Sky, Divine Hammer, and of course the title track are all kind of very much good examples of what I'm pretty much trying to describe to you about Steel Cheetah and their sound and the overall new wave or traditional heavy metal. They're all very much good examples of that, and they play off of them very, very well. Is what I'm trying to get at here, and nothing completely terrible at all. Again, just all good stuff. I don't know. I hope I'm not sending out mixed emotions. I'm using words like terrible and stuff because of I'm trying to say something really positive about most of the stuff here. It's just that it's not all completely new. But again, since this was probably stuff that has been written for a while here, you kind of can get the feel of that, and that's usually not going to be something you're going to end up getting with a lot of debut albums. It's going to be mostly early written stuff, and so it's going to have at least a sound of what they were, you know, more younger and stuff. You know, it's going to have that. You won't get the feel, at least anything, you know, let's say the band's sort of more newer kind of stuff until later, you know, so that's why I think this is a pretty, this is good sort of solid debut material, and again, they're all very, very good to begin with. It's just, you know, this is kind of what you tend to expect from a debut new wave or traditional heavy metal album. It's still very energetic. It's got a lot of youthfulness to it. They definitely sound like they are definitely hungry in some ways, and that's what you pretty much should expect and what you come to expect from debut full-length albums from, you know, any new wave or traditional heavy metal band. So there we go. But again, there's still, as far as favorite songs off of this one, I would that would be really good examples for you to really kind of check out. Basically, recommendations. I would say the songs like Into the Storm, Sweet Cheetah, which is actually the most mid-paced song on the entire album for me. Save for, let's say, like Angel's Cry, which kind of begins very clean-like with its intro. I'll also fail to mention that the intro of the track, Call of the Sea, I mean, it kind of begins with a lot, I mean, throughout the track, there's a lot of like very ocean ambience and stuff where it kind of gives for background effects, while over it is being played a very clean guitar intro. But not in the way that you expect a lot of some of these new wave traditional heavy metal bands to kind of use. I mean, they've used them, but they tend to come off of more like they are inspired by the most recent Iron Maiden song. Whereas this one takes a lot of inspiration from the more clean guitar intros that Judas Priest was more known for, especially modern era Judas Priest. So it kind of has that kind of feel, which I feel is a little bit of a breath of fresh air because of normally when I hear a clean guitar intro, I tend to really think of more like modern day Iron Maiden. For an example, let's say anything off of Senjutsu or Brave New World, or even, for example, like some of the more Blaze Bayley era stuff. I tend to really get more of that with a lot of new wave for traditional heavy metal bands, but I rarely get any sort of stuff that would be inspired by modern day Judas Priest. And so this was a really nice change of pace for me. So I find it a really cool, just a cool thing to hear in an album here, especially of a new wave or traditional heavy metal style band. Other than that, there's just some really good, fun songs on here. Again, a lot of energy is what I'm pretty much saying here. There's a lot of energy on this album, and the performances and the execution is all fine there. There's nothing bad here. It's just, again, it's nothing brand new, nothing extraordinary, but at this point, it should be at least a given with this genre. This is not about trying to reinvent the wheel. This is just basically trying to just make just fun heavy metal. That's what it is. It's just to make fun stuff and take people back to at least when things were more funner and not trying to be completely serious and over anything or trying to like, oh, we're gonna be something brand new. This is just, again, just a straight up, no frills heavy metal album, and I think they did a good job on honing in on that. So there. Just some fun songs on here. Again, An Angel's Cry is my other sort of favorite track off of this one. It's a really good song to end the album, and probably one of the more longest songs, besides Into the Storm being the longest on here, because of it basically clocks in at, 5 minutes and 39 seconds, where Angel's Cry clocks in at the length of 5 minutes and 26 seconds. So, there it is. So, there's my overall thoughts on Inferno. Again, not to be confused with the same title of the Motorhead album of the band Steel Cheetah here. So what is my rating since I wrote it down here? I'm giving it a 8.30 out of 10. Because again, I think it's a pretty good album for the to begin with, and I think they did a pretty good job. But I do feel that after this album, I feel they will definitely, if they continue on, I would at least expect them to really expand on this, but somehow I think even edge up more of some of their writing and their overall style. I think that they can edge out their songwriting more and more, and that's where I think things will get a lot more interesting, more different. Again, just sharpening their axes even more, and I think you'll definitely get even some more really good albums from these guys, and they or females. Just I don't want to come off as sexist, but again, they're just, I think they are very capable, and they obviously are very talented. So that's all I can say here. It's a really good overall album, and I think I can expect some pretty good albums to come afterwards. So there we go. I'll definitely be keeping up track with whatever comes out of them, or any news of Steel Cheetah within the years. So there it is, and I recommend this album. I'll leave you a link to whatever, maybe their Facebook page, Instagram, whatever. I know if you got Spotify, but I think you can find this on, like, let's say the New Wave for traditional metal, full albums page on YouTube. So there you go. That's it. I hope all of you enjoyed. This is Heavy Thrasher saying I'm out, and I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.